Hello my subscribers. Today we're going to show you a romance movie called Gemma Bovery. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press subscribe and like so that the channel helps in development. In the opening scene we introduced to an old man named Martin, who runs a bakery in a small village in France. Then Martin tells all of us that he came here 7 years ago because his dad's bakery was here, which he now runs. Friends, let me tell you that Martin is a very quiet man and he does not talk much. Then Martin burns it while making bread. Then, on asking his wife, he tells that he was thinking about Charlie, that he should not commit suicide on this. His wife says that you should not think about all this and a wise man never commits suicide. Then Martin arrives at his neighbor Charlie's house where Charlie was burning his wife Gemma's clothes. Then Charlie goes home for some work. Just then Martin finds Gemma's diary in a box which he keeps with him. When he comes home, Martin starts reading the diary, and then the scene of that day is shown in flashback, the day Charlie came to live in this village for the first time with his wife Gemma, so that they could spend the rest of their lives in this village peacefully. Seeing these two new here, Martin goes to their house and gives his introduction and welcomes them to his village. A few days later, Gemma and Charlie come to Martin's bakery to buy bread. During this, Martin keeps looking at Gemma's beauty. Later on, then when Martin was on his way home, Martin meets Gemma, and then Martin takes her to show him a beautiful garden which Gemma likes very much. Now that same night, Charlie comes to Martin's house and says that the electricity in his house has gone out, so Martin goes to their house to check and he somehow turns on the lights again. Now Martin's wife had also come there. Then all four start talking while drinking, but even during this time Martin was going to see only Gemma. After this, a few days pass and one day again Gemma comes to Martin's bakery. This time Martin asks Gemma, if you know how I make bread, so Gemma says yes. To see it, then Martin takes her to the back room where he used to make bread. While making the same bread, Martin asks Gemma, how are you feeling on this? Gemma says that I feel very good, as if I am doing some yoga. After this, Martin replies saying that I do this yoga every morning. Now it was very hot in that room. Gemma starts feeling hot, so she takes off her sweater. Seeing all this, Martin is unable to stop himself and starts looking at Gemma's body. In the next scene we see Martin and his wife Charlie and Gemma's friend having lunch at their house. After this, when Gemma was watching her house with her friend, Gemma's friend tells her that girls should always take care of their bodies. That's why she exercises every day. Now this seems to be true for Gemma too, so she starts exercising. From the next day, the day ahead, we see Martin on the way. He meets Gemma. He asks Gemma why she is not coming to buy bread since last many days. On this, Gemma says that she is dieting, so for a few days she stopped eating bread. Then when Gemma was leaving from there after finishing the talk, then suddenly a worm bites in her back. This causes great pain to Gemma, so she shouts loudly and calls Martin to her and says that some insect has bitten her back. Then Martin checks Gemma's back and tells her that you have been bitten by a poisonous insect, that's why he has to suck out his poison. And here Gemma tells Martin to do this, and Martin immediately starts sucking and coming out. Only then a boy named Harp comes there, and seeing Martin doing this asks him that here what is going on. Again, Martin was about to understand the situation, that then Gemma falls down and faints. Seeing this, Harp and Martin immediately take him to the hospital, where the doctor says by giving injection to Gemma now there is nothing to panic. While coming back home, Gemma puts her head on Martin's shoulder, which makes Martin very happy, and he starts feeling that Gemma also starts liking him while watching Martin. And I guess after seeing them, and Harp must be asking about Gemma's health, but then later he thinks that these two are going to have an affair. One day ahead, when Gemma is buying wine in the supermarket, that's when she once again met Harp. Harp tells Gemma his favorite wine. Gemma buys the same wine. Next we see Martin, who was on his way back home after delivering bread. Only then he sees Gemma going somewhere, so he stops to see him, after which Gemma walks inside Harp's house. After seeing all this, Martin gets tensed as to why Gemma must have gone inside Harp's house alone, but his thinking turns out to be wrong, because the same night when he goes to have dinner at Gemma's house, he sees a hickey on Gemma's neck, which makes him understand what must have happened between Harp and Gemma today. Most of Martin feels very bad because he wanted to be himself in place of Harp, and the partner was assuming himself responsible for all this. Because Gemma and Harp had not met that day, all this would not have happened today. The next day, Martin sees Harp, who was seen in a lot of tension, so Martin goes to her and asks what is the matter. So Harp says that he is not able to concentrate in studies at all. Martin then suggests to him that he should call his girlfriend to him, as she can help him with that. Now after a while, Martin sees Gemma going somewhere, and after sometimes we see the audience that Gemma is having fun with Harp at his house, which proves that Gemma is really having an affair with Harp. A few days pass by like this, and in these days Martin was thinking only about Gemma. One day Gemma comes to Martin's bakery very happy. She tells Martin that Charlie has gone to London for a few days. Further, Gemma buys some bread. She forgets a bread there's some. Martin later gives that bread to her, goes to his house. He hears some voices from inside the house. Actually, Gemma was with Harp inside the house. Next, Martin listens to both of them from the window. Both of them were saying "I love you" to each other, hearing which Martin gets very angry. After this, Gemma goes to Harp's house. The next day, she accidentally breaks a very precious idol of Harp's mom from her hands, to which Gemma says that she will get this Charlie fixed. Before leaving from there, Gemma tells Harp that both of us should go to London, and Harp also agrees to this thing. And the next day, to Gemma, she finds a letter after reading which she leaves to go to Harp's house. Here, Harp's mom had come back home, and due to not getting the idol, she asks Harp about the idol. On this, the Harp says that there were scratches on the idol, so he has given Charlie nearby to repair it. Here, Gemma was coming to meet Harp at his house when he got Harp's message in which he had written that he cannot go to London with her. Gemma feels very bad hearing this, and she goes back home crying. Further, Harp's mom comes to Charlie and asks for his idol and says that "My son Harp gave you my idol to repair," but Charlie refuses and says that no one has given him any idol to repair it but Harp. That mom leaves from there in anger. After this, in the night, Charlie asks Gemma about the idol, to which Gemma refuses. Here in companion, we can also see that she was trying to tell something to Charlie, but she could not tell Charlie. Seeing this, we understand that Gemma wanted to tell Charlie about her affair, but here first Charlie gets an idea of this because Gemma was not paying attention to him for a long time, so he goes to London for a few days. Now Gemma finds herself alone, which hurts her a lot. The next day, when Martin was on his way out, then he finds Gemma's dog, so he comes to Gemma's house with that dog at home. Gemma gives him a letter to read which was written in French. In that letter, Harp's mom was asking about the idol that she thought Charlie had. Further, Gemma asks Martin to write a reply to this letter, but Martin says that he will give it in writing in a day or two. Now, after a few days, Gemma meets her ex-boyfriend Patrick's, and in the very next scene, Martin sees both of them kissing on the way. Seeing that, Martin gets shocked and he starts feeling that Gemma is a characterless girl. After this, when Gemma and Patrick's were in the restaurant, that's when Gemma realizes that she is doing wrong, so she tells Patrick's that whatever happened between us you should forget, because I still love my husband Charlie. On coming home, Gemma calls Charlie and tells that she loves him very much and cannot live without him. Hearing this, Charlie gets emotional and he leaves to come back to Gemma. Then when Gemma was talking to Martin, she comes to know that a letter was sent to him in the name of Harp and not Martin. And on asking about it, Martin tells that he was worried that he should do something on his own, and that's why he had to do it now, because Martin had good intentions. That's why Gemma doesn't get angry on Martin but says goodbye by giving him a kiss. Then after Martin's departure, Patrick's comes to Gemma's house, and while they were both alone in the house, only then Charlie comes back outside. Then as soon as he goes inside Charlie's house, he immediately comes out and loudly calls Martin for help. When Martin goes inside the house and sees, so he is shocked to see Gemma dead there. Now the police are called, who send Gemma's body for post-mortem. The same night the post-mortem report comes. Then Martin learns from the doctor that Gemma's death is due to bread stuck in her throat. The same thing happens the next day. Martin tells Charlie at the funeral, to which Charlie says that Gemma died because of him, because when he went into the house he saw Patrick's pushing Gemma from behind, which he felt after seeing that Patrick's is coercing with Gemma. So when he starts fighting with him, Patrick comes there and tells him that when Gemma was eating bread he was kissing her from behind, due to which the bread got stuck in her throat. While trying to get him out, Charlie came there, and then due to misunderstanding they both got into a fight. Now both of them got so busy in the fight that they did not even think of Gemma, due to which Gemma died of suffocation. Now this is where the flashback ends, and we see in the present that Martin's son comes and tells him that a Russian couple has come to live in our neighborhood. Hearing this, Martin immediately goes to meet him. And here's the end of the movie. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press subscribe and like, so that the channel helps in development.